So today I've decided to upgrade my server by putting it into a proper server chassis. So let's see what we've got for today's episode of Nelly's Nerd Cave. Hello and welcome back to Nelly's Nerd Cave. I'm Neil, and on this channel I share my love of tech and gaming with tips, tutorials and reviews based on what I know and my knowledge. And what we're doing today is we're transplanting my media server and my TrueNAS server into an actual 4U server chassis. So I can stick it in my rack and it looks a little bit nicer than being stuck on the floor behind me. So first of all, let's disassemble my current server version 1, so cue the montage. So that is the deconstruction of version 1 server. So what have we got? Well, you've actually all seen me build my server in a previous video, but since then, since I've put it together, I've upgraded it significantly. First of all, with the motherboard, I've added 64 gigabytes of RAM, so I've added an extra 32. I've updated the cooler, and the cooler is now a Thermalright SI-100 Black. It looks far nicer and actually is a low profile one, as we can see, and it actually runs really silently and looks absolutely fantastic compared to the previous one. Now this one is 20 quid. It's really cheap, it's really nice. The other one was £13 and it really wasn't that good, but I did buy it from AliExpress and I wanted to build something from AliExpress at the time. I've also updated the motherboard, as you can see. So if you've looked at my previous videos, I've also updated the motherboard. This is a Yunir, I don't know, an LGA2011 motherboard. It has 3 16 PCIe slots, 2 X1 slots. This then allows me to add other graphics cards and things like that. It also has more space for other NVMe's. One of those is a Wi-Fi card, but I can get another NVMe into this particular motherboard. And this will then help me with my Jellyfin server, etc. And I'll be able to get a graphics card in there so that I can do all the transcoding. The case that I'm going to use is actually this one. This one is by Codegen. It's a Codegen 4U V2 server case. It looks really nice. and the case is really going to fulfill my needs and allow me to upgrade storage, for example. So for this particular case here, at the present moment in time, it holds 8 3.5-inch drives, and it'll allow me to add those 8 at any point. So those of you who've seen me do my previous build will actually know that I bought a drive enclosure that fits into 3 5.25-inch bays. Okay, so you take 3 5.25-inch bays, you stick this thing in it, and you get another 5 3.5-inch drives. I'm going to keep this as it is, hence why all the cabling and the SATA card is still plugged in. I don't want to lose where everything is, and then TrueNAS can just pick up from where it last left off. This will give me a maximum of 13 drives. But what I can also do is this particular case has drive sleds in them. So what I've done is I have a couple of 2.5-inch drives. So I've bought this Sabrent 2.5 to 3.5-inch converter. This actually holds 2 2.5-inch drives. So if I just got a load of these, and I got 13 of these, I would be able to potentially put 26 SSDs in there. I'm not going to, because I like hard drives when it comes to long time storage. So this is just for cache drives. So I've got two 2-terabyte cache drives, and I'm going to use that for the 2 2-terabyte cache drives so that I can put them into one drive sled and not take up excess amounts of space. So that's really going to be useful, and you're going to see me use this shortly. The case comes equipped with 2, so you can't see them properly, but it comes with 2 120mm fans and 2 80mm fans. These ones, they're really the cheap and noisy, like 3000 RPM fans. They have Molex connectors on the end. Who uses Molex connector anymore? And so there's no room for speed adjustments or anything like that. So what I've got is I'm actually using 2 Thermalright TLC120 fans. These are 120mm fans, as are these, but they're full PWM controllable. So again, I can utilize these with fan speed controllers, etc. I'm also swapping out the 80mm fans for Thermalright TLB8 fans. These are not black, but you're not going to see them. They're like a grey colour, but again, they're PWM controlled, so I can get silence. So I really chose these fans because I don't want to get any noise. So I've used the low noise fans on purpose. This room is not just my studio for filming. It's my editing room, it's my day job office, etc. So I need this to be as silent as it possibly can be. Now the motherboard I'm using has a few drawbacks. I showed you this shortly, and basically what it is this particular motherboard only has one fan header. Okay, one PWM fan header, and that is for the CPU. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a breakout, and this is the Thermalright fan hub. Yeah, there's a theme here with Thermalright. This can control up to 10 fans over one PWM connector, which means I can kind of stick all these fans in one place and have one header for all of it. Now the good thing about using a hub is that if I wanted to put the, the 5 fans that I'm using at this present moment in time on one header, I could actually blow the little fuse that's built into the motherboard and that header no longer function. So having this means that it's got a SATA lead, and this can then be used for power, therefore it doesn't overload that particular header, and safeguarding it and giving me more flexibility to add as many fans as I really like. So again, I'm going to use it for the CPU fan connected to the CPU fan header, then I'm going to have the 2 front fans and the 2 rear exhaust fans all connected to this, so it's going to be using 5 out of the 10 sockets. There's plenty there. So again, it won't overload the headers that we have. So I will just pop this down here on my mat. So for this video, what I've done is I've actually already replaced those particular fans so that I'm not faffing around, and that's why I can show you these ones and how rubbish they look. And we have every single thing removed, and you'll see that I've left all the SATA cables connected to this thing, like I said earlier, because I don't want it to lose where it is. It probably won't, but you can guarantee my luck it probably will. Now, before I put this into the new case, I first need these little devices, and basically these particular things here, when you read the manual, yes, I am one of those weirdos that reads the manual. These are actually for connecting up to the actual drive bay that I'm using. So what we do is we use, it's got two little prongs at the front and so two little prongs at the back, and all you do is you put this into the holes where the screws go on each side, and it clips into the case so that then you can remove it if you want. So I've got to use these particular little things that I've got here to be able to do that, and they're really easy to put on. You just clip them on like this, and as far as I understand in the instructions, you only need 2 for each side. You don't need 3. So we'll see how that goes when we come to installing everything. And that's a little, no, yeah, because that's me. Okay, so be careful, Neil. Don't break anything. So you heard me mention earlier that I need a graphics card, and I'm adding in a little bit of a Frankenstein card. So the card I've got is the NVIDIA K4000. It's quite old, but it allows me to do 1 NVENC transcode on this particular card. Now I'm going to use this for transcoding across my network on Jellyfin so that it becomes a little bit faster internally. But what you'll notice is that it kind of doesn't look like the standard K-series cards, and you'll notice that for those of you with a keen eye, it actually says that it's a GTX 660. Okay, but it's not really. What I've done is, this is the fan that used to be on it. Okay, and this particular fan whines really loudly, and I don't want that. My whole goal here is to make this silent. So I've taken this off and I've done a load of research, and after doing the research, what I found is that the mounting holes that you use for the heatsink are actually the same distance as an old GTX 660. So I went on eBay and I bought a non-functioning GTX 660 and checked that the fans worked when it arrived. So the card that didn't work only cost me like £3. So I bought that card, I took this off, and fortunately it fits absolutely perfectly on the back. Did some testing using Furmark, and it's silent. It really is absolutely silent, and it's absolutely fantastic. Even as far as the fan header doesn't need to be changed. It's the same fan header. The only problem is I have this little bit of wire sticking out of the back here for the 6-pin cable, but it doesn't really matter at this point. It's going to go in a case. Nobody's going to see it, but it means that the card is now silent and it's going to do its job. So again, with this particular motherboard, there is some small issues with it, and that is that it doesn't have built-in graphics. So to get around this, it won't boot without a graphics card. So what I've done is I've got the trusty GT710 from MSI, and this particular card is really nice just to get it up and running and just to make it work. It's got one HDMI port. You don't need anything. All you need is the graphics card to make it function. This is 2 GB of memory. Doesn't need to be any more than that. So it's perfect, okay? Perfect for the job in hand and what I need it for. So this is all the components that I have, and now it's time to actually get into the build and rebuild all this up and install it into this new case. And let's hope that it all goes really smoothly. So again, here's another montage. So first of all, what I have to do is take off this top bar, and what this top bar does is it basically stabilizes graphics cards that are quite long. So I need to take this off to get the motherboard in. Once I've got the motherboard in and all the other components, I can pop that back on and stabilize everything. One of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to take out one of these drive sleds so that I can put those SSDs in. And look, it's broken. Doesn't matter that it's broken, because what I can do is once I've got everything in, it's perfectly fine to use anyway. So I'm going to put these SSDs in. Okay, so everything is now put into this case. It's all transplanted. Cable management, a little bit off, but it hopefully should work. So let's try booting this back up. Power, and yeah, it's round here next to the USBs. That's a good sign. Hopefully you can hear this. It still sounds quite loud. Ooh, but it doesn't now. Now I'm just waiting, and hopefully we'll see if anything changes when we get into the boot screen, because all the fans at the moment are on full ramp. So what we'll see is yeah, fan noise has gone. That's exactly what I wanted. So before it starts booting properly, I'm going to switch this off. And I'm going to put this into the rack off camera, and I'm going to be using this as my storage media and my media server, so that then everything works fully, and I'm able to then make sure that I have all my Nelly's Nerd Cave stuff all stored. So with that, I hope that you've really enjoyed this video, and I hope you learnt something, even if it is how to put the server back in here. Learnt something about the fact that you can actually put a cooler from another graphics card onto an existing graphics card so that it becomes much quieter. So hopefully you've kind of taken something away from that. So with this all complete, I'll say thank you for joining me. And if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Nelly's Nerd Cave for more gaming content and tech-tastic reviews. And until next time, happy gaming and stay nerdy.